All right, Tuesday, January 3rd edition of the Carolina Weather Video here. Let's get right into it, and I'll spend a whole lot of time talking about the potential winter weather situation later on this week as we get a little deeper into the video. First of all, there's a look at the Greensboro Tower camera this morning. Very wet start to the day. Last night into early this morning, pretty good batch of rain. Some of it heavy has been moving through around the Charlotte metro. There's a look at the Dowd YMCA camera looking toward uptown during the 5 a.m. hour. And temperature 48 degrees. Not a lot of temperature movement over the past couple of days with this wedge in place here across much of North Carolina. Now it's much milder in South Carolina, and you notice off to the southwest, a lot of 60s and 50s through the deep south and the Tennessee Valley. We have a little bit of a milder weather setup today and tomorrow before this much colder air some of the Rockies and the northern plain states plunges on in, and that'll be a big part of our weather story and weather scenario late this week and through the upcoming weekend. All right, there's the radar. This batch of rain, some of it heavy, working through early this morning. Again, I'm cutting this video during the 5 a.m. hour. Some thunderstorms near I-95, and that's possible over the eastern parts of North Carolina this morning. But this system is exiting, and a couple of lingering showers move through this morning. But I think as we get into the afternoon hours, most of us are going to have a dry weather setup. Now, it's been a wet start to the year. These are 72-hour rain totals. Some 8 and 10 plus inch rain amounts over parts of Georgia, Alabama, down to Mississippi, Louisiana, and the western Florida Panhandle region. Not nearly that heavy up here, but it has been a wet start to the year. A lot of 1 to 3 inch rain totals in the Carolinas. A little bullseye down in southwestern South Carolina and Georgia of 5 plus inches of rain. But again, this system is departing. Cold front sweeping through. The clouds probably pretty stubborn today, but eventually the areas that have been in this wedge for a couple of days, able to break out into the 50s and 60s, I think. And then tomorrow, we squeeze in still a bit of a milder weather setup. By the way, a little mountain snow late tonight and tomorrow morning. Quiet across most of the Carolinas tomorrow. There's your Wednesday highs, not too bad. But the cold air begins to take hold on Thursday. And that is ingredient one, of course, for wintry precip. Thursday's high temperatures look like that. And then by Friday, I think we're looking at something like that for highs and trending down from there. All right, I'll give you the detailed modeling in just a second, but here's the basic idea with the European computer model. Well, it looks like I kind of messed up the endpoints here on this, but there you go. Low pressure tracks from the northern Gulf of Mexico to off of the Carolina coast. And I'll show you the differences in the models and how they've kind of trended in just a couple of moments. But this was the latest run of the European, and it put down a pretty good footprint of snow over parts of the Tennessee Valley and especially into the Carolinas. Again, take these amounts with mounds of salt, but that's just what the latest run of the European printed out. Now, this was the 0Z run of the GFS, and the 6Z looks extremely similar from what I've seen coming in now. But that was the basic idea from the 0Z GFS. It has gone with a much more suppressed and weaker solution, but I don't necessarily think that is correct. All right, let me show you what's happening aloft. All right, this is the GFS model, the 0Z run. And again, it all kind of hinged around this piece of energy off the Pacific Northwest coast. And yesterday, those big snow totals that you saw posted or mentioned on the GFS model, that was with this remaining a completely separate and intense piece of energy that became an intense storm system. And the GFS has kind of caved in large extent to what some of the other earlier models were shown. But I think that if you are a snow fan, there's been some encouraging trends on a couple of the other models. Okay, now again, this was the 0Z run of the GFS for Friday morning, and then you got out to Saturday early afternoon. The European model, and this is the latest European, the 0Z run. All right, so this is early this afternoon. And then notice this. I wanted to show you this. Let me compare this as this moves into the southeast. This was the 12Z run yesterday, the European, that was very weak with precipitation up into a lot of the Carolinas. All right, this was valid Friday morning. And here's the latest one. Notice a trailing piece of energy more well-defined on the latest European. And then this was valid overnight Friday night to Saturday morning on yesterday's model. All right, compare that with the latest run. Just again, a little bit more of a well-defined independent system with that trailing piece of energy. And the result is, again, a pretty good little winter precip event on the latest European model. So this is overnight Friday night, low pressure near the Big Bend region of Florida, moving to off the South Carolina and Georgia coast by daybreak Saturday. just enough phasing occurring aloft that you get a good precipitation shield on the northwest side of this low pressure as it pulls away. And again, you saw those snow totals that I showed you a moment ago. Again, it looks like that across the region. Now, the UK Met, which I think frankly has done a very nice job, at least in terms of being consistent thus far. This was what it shows about a Friday evening and then Saturday evening. That is a pretty good hit of snow. You don't have the precipitation charts from the UK Met that far out, but that's a pretty good hit of snow. And the Canadian has trended in SnowFan's direction with its latest run too. This is the Friday evening chart, Friday night, then into Saturday morning, and then there it goes. And if you notice the trend of the precipitation, this is the last 4 Canadian model runs. We've kind of stabilized now with a decent little solution on the Canadian with the last run. And again, there's the, well, let me get rid of this here. That's the snow trend of the last 4 runs of the Canadian. Certainly the last one, the juiciest in terms of snow totals. Now again, the GFS is much less impressed, much less amplified. But I will point out this. This was the parallel run of the GFS at 0Z. And it was much more in line with what we're seeing with some of the other modeling. The Canadian especially a little bit lighter than the European, but certainly a step more in that direction. So I think what we're seeing here is everything kind of trend together just a bit. And I think we're seeing a scenario where the Carolinas and the Tennessee Valley have a good chance of seeing some wintry precip in the form of snow coming up Friday night into Saturday. Now, the lighter, more suppressed solution, the latest GFS models have shown could be correct, but I tell you what, when you have the European and the UK Med and the Canadian in pretty good agreement, that's a tough scenario to go against. And so I do think odds are good that some of us could see some accumulating snow in that Friday night and Saturday time period. So we'll see. A lot to adjust moving forward. I think we're consolidating on that basic idea. It's still too early for any specific accumulation amounts, and of course this could still trend in a number of directions. We could still see a north trend develop if this phasing becomes a little bit more of a constant in future model runs that you saw in the European model. But overall, snow fans, maybe something to see here Friday night to Saturday. All right, that is it for the latest edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.